Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a different type of video that I don't do. Maybe out of fear, because I'm a little anxious about this one, I won't lie. But I lately have just been, I've seen it for a while. It's not new. This is not a new topic or conversation, but it's one that I've been interested in having, and I would love input and other people's opinions and thoughts, whether you agree, especially if you disagree, because a lot of people use the term overhyped, and I would love to hear from the people who fall into that category of using the term. So that's kind of what this is. We're just going to talk about the term, the words, how it came to be, so on and so forth. This isn't like a deep dive. I'm not trying to spark any like controversial. I'm genuinely just curious about the thought process that some people have. My cat is outside, one second. What's a hyped book? Generic, what I see as a hyped book would be a book or author or series that is incredibly popular on social media, on BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTok. And so to me, when I see a book getting a lot of hype, there's two sides of the coin, two reactions that you will commonly see. People who are feeding into the hype, agreeing with the hype, picking the book up because of the hype, and there are the people who think that books are being overhyped because they didn't like it or they don't have an interest in it. I would love to know deeper into the mindset of someone who thinks books are overhyped. I don't really understand, unless it's like to be an I'm not like other girls, but I don't think that's really what it is. I think that it's just people not agreeing. But a few prime examples, Sarah J. Maas, specifically acotar. I cannot go 2 minutes on Bookstagram without seeing somebody post on acotar. I am on Lemon 8. I'm figuring that one out. It's new. It's much more of a lifestyle platform, but there's still book content there, and I see the acotar series often. Sarah J. Maas is incredibly popular. She started Throne of Glass. She started Thrones of Glass when she was like, what, 16? So she's been in the game for a very long time. And the hype is insane. Like, Sarah J. Maas is so popular. And some will often say that Sarah J. Maas is overhyped, that the books are overhyped, because we can all acknowledge that they are not the perfect books. They're not objectively great books. Let's keep in mind, no, I haven't read them, but I've seen enough reviews. I could tell you the entire plot of the first book. I've seen enough spoilers. I will be reading Sarah J. Maas for a reading vlog, hopefully this year, if not next year, because the hype does get to you. The hype makes you want to pick it up and try it and see what the buzz is about. But I can also say that, from my standpoint, an outsider looking in, that Sarah J. Maas has slight problematic things in her book. Specifically the lack of people of color in this very expansive world. But I know that people love and adore Sarah J. Maas because her books are comforting, enjoyable, a lot of people's introduction into reading. Sarah J. Maas is one of those authors that if you're not a big reader, if you don't have a library in your home and you're not reading hundreds of books in a year, like, you're likely sticking to a genre because you're a casual reader, and those casual readers will often fall into a Sarah J. Maas contemporary fantasy romance side of the reading sphere. Does that make sense? Because people enjoy what other people enjoy. There's a community there. There's something shared there with a bunch of people loving the same thing. There's a sense of community. Colleen Hoover. Coho, super problematic. I've never read a coho. I have no desire to. Colleen Hoover has a lot of very problematic romantic relationships in her books, but people eat that up. People love it. People on BookTok love Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover's had a huge resurgence because of BookTok, and it's not overhyped in my opinion because there is an audience who loves those books. Is there a lack of conversation around the problematic themes in books? Yeah, absolutely. But you gotta remember, Book Talk is a newer platform for people. It's been around, what, 2 years it's been popular? And so it's kind of hard to say that in 60 seconds people have to say, hey, I recommend this book, but also, like, I don't agree with the romantic relationship. Like, it's not as nuanced as maybe a booktube video is going to be. It's not going to go quite as deep into it, but you're going to see maybe in the comments or in the captions, content warning, make sure you're, like, knowing what you're getting into or whatever. And although I don't agree that Colleen Hoover should be as big and popular as she is, that's not to say that it's undeserved. Like, she wrote books, she put in the work. I'm already losing my voice. She's put in the work, she's written the book, she's published the books, she's built up a platform, she's built an audience who is going to support her no matter what she puts out. And that's a big part of being hyped, is you just have the people willing to read it. Lightlark is a very interesting example because Alex Astor built up incredible hype around the book, and I know that there's a lot of conversation that could be had around the publishing industry and the lack of representation that the publishers put out, the lack of marketing that publishers do. It's not even across the board. That's a different conversation. Yes, it does play a role in this conversation. I do not feel quite equipped to have that. I'm not in publishing. I'm not an author. I do not have inside knowledge to that. I can just see what everyone else on the internet can see. I can see with my own 2 eyes that there's a lot of discrimination to minorities in the book community. But with that said, Alex Astor promoted her ass off to get Lightlark published and popular. And was it maybe built on false promises? Sure. Is the book objectively good? No. I don't think anyone picks up a Sarah J. Maas or a Colleen Hoover or a Fourth Wing or a Lightlark and say, this is perfect writing. Because reading is subjective. We can all agree. Reviews are subjective. I love so many books that my friends don't love and that people on the internet don't love. And that's great because that's a part of reading. Like, that's a part of the experience. That's what you expect. That's normal. So when Lightlark came out, there was a lot of hype leading up to Lightlark, and then Lightlark came out and the reviews started coming in. There was issues with everyone thinking that Alex Astor was a plant, and that's also a different conversation that I don't agree with either, in the specific case of Alex Astor. But the book came out, it got 1-star bombed, people started doing 3-hour deep dive, long conversations about the book and the plot and the hype around it and the publication, I'm thinking of a specific word and it's not coming to me, the promotion of the book, and how it was completely different from what the audience got. I went into Lightlark knowing very little about the controversies and learned as I was reading, and especially after I read it, I learned a lot more about it and started watching the videos. But I went into it expecting not a lot, and I actually really enjoyed the experience because I read trash. I have no problem admitting that. I don't have great taste in books at all times, and I thought Lightlark was a very fun read in less than 24 hours. I read it for a 24-hour readathon. I had fun, and that's what I get out of reading, is entertainment. This conversation is coming to you because the newest sensation has taken over the world. Fourth Wings, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard of it? I'm sure you have. One of the most popular videos I've seen on my YouTube suggested to me is the Fourth Wing Worth the Hype videos, where people are reading Fourth Wing for the first time, and I would say 8 out of 10 times people are agreeing with the hype and people love this book. I'm obviously one of those people. I have no shame in saying that I love this book. I thought it was so cringy throughout, and I thought it was so weird and uncomfortable at times, and I loved it. I had such a fun time reading this. I've had such a fun time experiencing this at the same time as the rest of the community and being a part of something that is hyped. And I think that has given me a lot more insight, because when I was reading this, I was texting my friend how much I loved it, and I could go on the internet and see reels of people loving it and be like, heck yeah, this is so good, and commenting on their photos and seeing the videos and being like, yes, and just all of us geeking out how much we love a book together. And that's normally experienced at a much smaller level, say like a book club, or you and your friend read something together and you have a lot of fun. Buddy reading books will make the experience better 9 out of 10 times. Even if you don't love the book, experiencing it with other people makes it better. That's just the truth. And so Fourth Wing has a lot of hype right now and is incredibly loved. Everyone is freaking out over it, and I am one of those people, so I totally get the hype, which makes this conversation more biased and a bit harder to understand, because I don't get the other side, because I do love this book, and I loved Lightlark, although I could see why people don't, absolutely, and I don't think it's great, but I never once understood people being like, oh, it's overhyped. Like, people enjoy what people enjoy. And when a community comes together, keep in mind, it's the same community that loves Sarah J. Maas. So when people come together and experience a book together, they're recommending it to people who have similar taste. And it is staying within people who read the same things. I can tell you right now, a lot of my mutuals? Sure, we'll go with that. My mutuals on BookTube, who primarily read horror, have seen the hype. And they go, wow, the hype is kind of getting to me, I'm interested, but I also know that it's not my genre, and I'm not going to like it. Therefore, I'm not going to buy it, and I'm not going to read it, because it's not an interest to them. They don't read this genre, they know they're not going to like it the same way. And they are going into that expecting that outcome, so they're not going to put themselves through it. Can a primarily horror reader like this? Absolutely. I love horror, but I also read a lot of fantasy romance. But I think people who know they like this genre, like this style, they're going to pick it up and go, absolutely, this is like right up my alley. We all love trashy fantasy romance, and so we all want to read exactly that. That's what it is. It's just so good. Anyway, we're not here to just gush about Fourth Wing, even though I could, and I want to. I won't. I think that with the hype around Fourth Wing right now, it being one of the most popular books, everybody wanting to read it, and everyone being so bummed out because it's impossible to get a copy because it's sold out everywhere because they didn't print nearly enough special edges. The next book is coming out in November. It just got a new cover. So the hype is continuing on. A lot of people are they're getting licensing so that they can promote their business, like their shops. They're making bookmarks, they are making t-shirts, and all of the things. All of the things, special editions, everything right now is incredibly insane with the hype, and it's not gonna stop for another probably month, and then it's likely to roar back up in November when the book comes out. And that is just a part of hype. We're all gonna move on to the next thing. It's not maybe gonna blow up to the same sensation, but there's always something to be hyped. Babel has been hyped. I'm sure that there is a lot of Yellowface hype. I think it's just a bit of a slower crowd rolling in, but a lot of things get hyped. A lot of things are hyped, and I think it is valid to say that people are reading this and people are loving it. Therefore, it deserves the hype. I just don't understand someone saying, it's overhyped because I didn't like it. Okay, you didn't like it. That's great, that's fine. No one is going, like, okay. I hope nobody's going to be upset with anyone for not liking a book. But that doesn't negate the validity of everyone who loves it. Everybody who loves the book still loves it, therefore it's going to continue circulating around because it is hyped. And when something is hyped, more people are going to read it, more people are going to like it, and more people are going to put it on social media. Why? Because that content is getting the most engagement right now. If you put out a Fourth Wing reel or book talk on social media, that is going to get higher engagement than anything else, because someone like me, I read the book and instantly I went on to Instagram and I seeked it out. I found it. And once I was able to find it on the internet, that's all I've been able to see, because the algorithm says, oh, you like this? We have that for you. And the engagement is going to go up. And so at the end of the day, hyped books really just lead to great engagement on social media, therefore increasing your followers, increasing the audience that you're going to gain, and therefore it trickles into a cycle. That's the gist of a hyped book. Hypes is just built around a book, mostly for a business standpoint. The book has insane, absolutely crazy marketing because it's so popular. Now the publishers have to scramble to get more copies made, to get more copies out, to get it on shelves again, because it just flew off the shelves so fast. And now that publisher is going to see a spike increase for their other books, because they've got a lot of first editions that you can pre-order right now, and that's going to drive the sales of those, because they're hoping for the next Fourth Wing, the next sensation. And so I can't understand why somebody sees the hype, reads the book, doesn't like the book, fairly, justly, again, not perfect, not even great, it is cringy, it isn't great writing, it's just a good time. But I can't understand someone who says that they don't like it, therefore nobody else should like it, and therefore the hype is a lie, the hype is wrong. How does that make sense? I just don't get it, because the hype is clearly there. Am I talking in circles? I don't know. I feel like I'm saying the same thing too much. I'm just ranting. This is a rant video. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm ranting. I just want to understand how something is overhyped. What does that truly mean? Because if a book has hype right now, there's an audience that loves the book. I can understand someone saying that Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Thorns and Roses? Acotar? Yeah. A Court of Thorns and Roses. So overhyped. Because it's everywhere. And it's not well written. And it's not new and exciting and blah blah blah. Like, you can definitely argue those things. But the audience is still there. The audience still loves it. The licensing to make fandom merchandise, second-hand, like a third party making merchandise of anything Sarah J. Maas puts out, is incredibly well sold. Those are some probably like the best marketing tools you got. Because there's an audience there. Because people love it. So how is it overhyped if the hype is genuine? I can understand if you see a book, it's just come out, no one's heard of the author before, no one's heard of the publisher before, but somehow it's 5 stars on Goodreads and everybody loves it, but you've never actually seen anyone who's read it. I can understand that being overhyped, because that could just easily be a marketing ploy, but people are genuinely liking these things. And so how can you tell them that it's wrong? I don't understand. I don't get it. I would love to know. Please somebody explain to me how you deem something to be overhyped. I really need to know. This has been racking my brain for quite some time, because some of the most popular videos, and here, I get it, I'm on YouTube, gotta love clickbait, because it's honestly, it works. You have to have a clickbaity title to get people in, to get the views, to get the whatever. And right now, Fourth Wing is that thing. So I understand people saying in their titles, is Fourth Wing worth the hype? And then reading the book and it telling us whether they think it's good or not. But even if you disagree with it being good, it's still worth the hype, because it still has the audience for it and it's still being very loved. Hi. And so I'm curious. I'm really curious. I understand the clickbaity titles for the YouTube videos, and I also understand that most people are going to enjoy this, because the people doing those videos are the people that like the genre, that like those types of books. So, like, I get it. Clickbait away. I think that's very important. Because that is, again, it's a business. YouTube is a business. Social media is a business. Even if you're not making money from it, you're still trying to get the most out of it, which is followers and engagement. So I understand the titles, but I don't understand the opposite of it not being worth the hype because it's not good. I don't get it. This has been really racking my brain a lot these last couple of days because I've seen a lot of people saying it more, which is fair. As the book gets more hype, more people are going to come out and turn around and say that they don't actually like it because it's going to be reaching more audiences that don't typically read this or don't typically pick it up, or because of the hype, read it more critically. I think that's another thing, is people go into it expecting like an objectively perfect book because people love it so much, as if the internet is not filled with trash that is well loved. I think the expectations of the people that are expecting more from this, like any of these books, I think it's just like their expectation is too high for the wrong reason. Books are popular because there's something in it that works for them. And it's not going to be the same across the board. Like, people are going to have different opinions. More people are going to roll in and talk about how they don't like Fourth Wing. And I hope that no one is ever scared to say they don't like a popular, hyped book. I want to believe the internet is nice and not, like, going to hurt or harm people with words. That's always the hope. That's always the goal. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope no one's like, how dare you not like Fourth Wing, we'll send you hate. I'm sure someone out there has done it and I hate it, but I hope that people can feel comfortable coming out and saying, I don't agree with this hype book, and that being okay. Because reading is subjective. It's really fun. I'm losing my voice. I think I've said what I need to say and I'm sounding more like a frog, so I'm gonna go now. I just really needed to rant. This was for me. I'm gonna post this just because I need it off my conscience. Yeah. But I'm gonna go because I sound like a frog. I'm gonna drink some water. I hope you do too. Water is very good for you, and I hope you have a great day, night, whatever, weekend. I don't know when you see me, but nice to see you. I hope you're doing very well and you're staying very hydrated this summer or winter. Drink your water, okay? I genuinely gotta go. Bye.